Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 76144. This is the LEGO Marvel Avengers Hulk Helicopter Rescue. It's obviously sort of Endgame inspired, at least the figs are. The build is kind of just a thing. But this was released in the fall 2019 wave, so this was released about 5 months after the movie came out, I think. I think it was a November release, if I recall correctly. So it's, you know, they were allowed to introduce some spoilery elements, like the Stark Gauntlet there, but they didn't really go for super movie accurate. And I assume a lot of that is probably because they weren't given a ton of source material. They were probably told, like, closer to the movie's release, oh, this is going to be in it, but you can't release it until after the movie has come out or something. I don't know how it worked exactly behind the scenes, but the set retailed for $60 with only 482 pieces, which, not a super awesome price per piece, but you do have a big fig, so you got to consider that. And if we turn around the box, you know, shows off some of the features and stuff, and you do have this cool art on the side of the Lego versions of the characters, and then you have the same box art that they used for the Endgame sets, even though this was the only Endgame set released later than the initial wave. There was a single instruction booklet, which, you know, is just an instruction booklet, and at the end it does show an ad for LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and a couple of the Endgame sets that released in the wave earlier, and at the end it just shows you, you know, all of the action features and stuff. But normally, when I start a review, I usually look at the small side builds first, because they're generally the least interesting. However, with this set, the main build is kind of the least interesting thing to me. It's better than I expected, you know, upon official images and announcement, you know. It's actually got some decent parts to it, and I like the use of these triangular tiles, you know. If you're just going to buy this set for figures, you can get some decent parts here. You do have these skid pieces used in 3 places. That's the landing gear, basically, of this thing. We don't have a back propeller. We have instead these Technic disc pieces, which you know, have stickers on them, and those stickers, they look pretty good. I don't like applying stickers on these disc pieces just because it's kind of annoying, but you know, it gets a pretty good result. And looking down below, there's a good amount of open space there, which we'll see what that action feature is for in a little bit. We have these stickers here that say caution, and there's an identical sticker on the other side as well. These panels can be lifted up, so you can sort of make this almost look like a combination of a helicopter and an airplane. And at the ends of these, you got these tile shooters, which you can angle independently of the wings. And to shoot those off, if you don't know how they work, you just push on this thing on the back, which is a separate part in assembly, and it, you know, you can make that go slowly and shoot off each one at a time, and it's sort of like a multiple projectile launcher, but it shoots off 3 of these tiles, and to reload that, you just push it inwards like this. I may have gotten this part once or twice before. I know it's relatively common in city sets, but this is one of the few copies of that I own. The helicopter blades can spin. There's no special geared mechanism to, you know, spin that up, but you get another sticker that's the same as the 2 on the back. Identical completely. I guess I probably should mention that is a printed tile right there, and another one identical to it on the other side. They use that in a couple other of the Endgame sets. I think it was used as a disc launcher projectile in one of them, and I know it was used as the sign on the Avengers Tower promo, which was pretty cool. We do have another sticker right up here with the A-U8. I don't know what that signifies, but you know, that's a thing. And you know, if you lift this up, you can sort of see underneath here. There's a little bit more shaping. This one is a little bit free-floating, but you can sort of balance it like that. I don't know why you would want to do that, and I did balance it like that a lot while I was building, so it wouldn't just fall over, but you know, that's a thing. I guess there's a little bit of thrust back here as well, suggested. And looking at the cockpit, we do have these lights, which I guess you can angle out as well. I don't know how useful that is. And we also have this cockpit, which is a interesting color for that part. And you can open it up, and the thing that kind of bothers me about the set is that it is really difficult to get a figure in here. It would not be too hard if the figure just had, just had a head with no headpiece. So I guess maybe this is the perfect Spider-Man vehicle. But you kind of have to like angle the ponytail to the side, and then honestly, it might even just be easier to completely remove the ponytail and stick the figure inside, and then lean her forward and put the ponytail on backward and spin it around, which that is a lot more difficult to do than it should be. Like, you should not have to do that much in order to squeeze a figure inside of there, so I am really kind of disappointed with the cockpit. Oh, of course, I wasn't really going to use this helicopter for much anyway, so it doesn't bother me that much. You'll notice there is also a single sticker there used as a screen for your character. And, to remove the figure is a little bit easier. You can move them into the side, but it is difficult to... There we go, I guess I got it that time. But you kind of have to find the exact right angle in order to get them out. And there are just 4 studs that they sit in. And, the seat doesn't look too bad. But there is a little bit of open space there, too, so it's not completely enclosed. So the cockpit area is really my least favorite part of this thing, I think. And that's pretty much all there is for, details on the front area. Now the only stuff we have left to look at are the several action features, sort of. Here we have 2 clips for Black Widow's batons, which I'll show you those up close with the figures later. And we have this crate that can be removed. And this is really the last thing to look at before we look at the big action feature of this thing. And inside this crate, we do have one of these 1x1 printed tiles, which is also used on the compound set as a little, tile thing. And in my compound, my copy of this part was extremely off-printed, both the one that I got and the extra, so fortunately here it's printed up pretty well, and the extra was too. And inside are just 6 of these little 1x1 round tiles that you can use as ammo, and this just snaps into place onto 4 studs right in there, and that's pretty effective, I guess. It looks fine. But onto the big action feature of this thing. So now you have the helicopter all reset, and we just got the Hulk sitting inside, and you can sort of see him a little bit better if you pull that upwards. And he just sits securely on the 2 studs there and 2 studs there, next to those caution things, and you can fold that down because you don't really need it. And there's this button right here up on the back, which when we take that and press it, it will just, you gotta get it secure a little bit better, I think. And I pushed the Hulk off accidentally, but not with as much force as I was supposed to. Okay, there we go. So now we take this button and we push it, and I guess there we go. That was a little bit anticlimactic, but it worked. It seems like you kind of have to really get Hulk pushed upwards enough, because I don't think I had enough range. Let's see. It's already mostly completely extended, and then you just kind of, I barely had enough power to push him off the studs, and it just angled him forward, and then got stuck. Yeah, that doesn't work as well as I was expecting it to. I had it working a little bit better earlier, but let's see. Maybe if he's not as well connected. There we go. Okay, so I guess you don't want to stick him on super securely, because that will cause problems. But yeah, that's the Hulk helicopter. It's kind of a mixed bag. It looks a little better than I was expecting it to. Functions, a little bit worse. And yeah, the cockpit is the real letdown here. And maybe I did something wrong with the action feature, but mine doesn't work super well either. And we do have 2 side builds, but they're actually a little bit more interesting than the main build to me. And they've got a decent amount of mass to them. A decent amount of the parts budget is dedicated to these 2 things. And here we have a Chitari Leviathan, and these are those really big creatures that you see in the Avengers, the first one, and in Endgame in the final battle a little bit. Though it doesn't. I don't think there's any scenes specifically in Endgame where they're like fighting a specific one of these. But they are present in that final battle. And this one is obviously a lot smaller, but I think there are smaller ones in the movie too. Obviously, the ones that you're going to remember are going to be the really huge ones, but you can open and close the mouth here. The mouth doesn't look great, and it doesn't really have eyes per se, but I do like the shaping around this, and the sticker is a pretty good one. There are a couple stickers on this. They're all transparent backed. And the wings here have the trans purple in there, which looks pretty good, and I do like the pearl gold. I think that works well. And these wings are each two independent sections that can swing up and down. So that's cool. You can rotate the head all around. You do have a little bit of that red in there, which doesn't look super great, but it's not too bad. And it works well enough. You do have this control panel, or maybe just windshield or something, for the Chitari guy, who can sit down here on the back. If you push this tail up too far, that will prevent him from sitting. So make sure that you sit him down before you mess with the tail. We do have a 1x2 slope piece there with some printing on there. I think that design originated in the Ninjago movie. And then the tail has just a bunch of ball joints. This one back here isn't a ball joint, but all the other ones are. So you can curve it around and make a decently cool looking thing. So yeah, I like this enough. I think it is a pretty decent thing, and has more value to me than the helicopter at least. And then we have this little Chitari hover bike thing, which is kind of a cool look. It's got a blaster at the front using one of these Queen Whatever crown pieces. Got two stud shooters, which just shoot off like stud shooters, and I'll never see that again. And on this one he stands up. You can attach his hands to the handlebars, which I'm not going to do because I don't care enough to do so. You got a little bit of thrust here at the back with the trans purple, and up here as well. And then these two pieces up here are stickers. I really like the shape that they get here. You can angle this up and down a little bit, just because it uses one of those handlebar pieces. But I like the overall look of this thing. I think it looks pretty cool, and it's pretty well done, I think, for the size and just as a side build in their set. They could have released this in a polybag, and that would have been really, really awesome. And I probably would have bought a couple, honestly, to build out a little bit of a final battle. But this is a good thing to be able to add to your enemy forces if you're building some sort of Avengers battle display. And this would even work pretty well with the just Avengers 1 stuff, and I guess the Leviathan too, to a slightly lesser extent. And here we have the Quantum Suit Hulk, and this is a pretty well done figure. Like, the printing is pretty good on it. It just uses the most basic Big Fig mold with the Hulk head. So there's not too much texture to the actual body part. Like you can see, he's got some back muscles and stuff, but nothing crazy going on here with this one. I think it's pretty decent looking. I don't think that this was the best choice that they could have made for putting a Big Fig in the set. I would have preferred to see either a new non-helmeted Thanos, which I guess maybe they didn't have the budget to make a new mold for that in the set, but I would have preferred to get just a plain old Professor Hulk. Hopefully we'll still get that in the future, if Hulk shows up in another movie down the road. So I've not completely lost hope for that, but still, it would have been, I think, a better alternative to this. Though, I wouldn't be surprised if LEGO wasn't told about that, so I don't place a ton of that blame on LEGO themselves, because I know there was a lot of stuff preventing, or attempting to prevent spoilers for Endgame. So a lot of toy companies didn't get that much information until after the movie came out. And obviously LEGO had been working on this before the movie came out. So yeah, he does have two arms and two hands which are detachable, and they're the coolest thing in this entire set, I think, is available to attach to his hand right there, and that is the Stark Nano Gauntlet. And it's a new mold that is an exact mirror of the Infinity Gauntlet mold, and it can therefore fit all of the Infinity Stones. And in this set they include 4 of the Infinity Stones, which I think was also pretty generous. Like, the only 2 stones that you don't get are the 2 that come in the Avengers compound battle, which are the Time Stone and the Power Stone. But here you do get the Space Stone, the Reality Stone, the Soul Stone, and the Mind Stone. So that's pretty good. And if you do get just those 2 sets, then you have all of the Infinity Stones. And if you don't know how the Infinity Stones come, they all come in a ring of 4 stones. So you know, you're able to take, like, if you get one set, you're able to pull out two of these, and, you know, you can, you know, fill out both this gauntlet and the Thanos gauntlet that comes in the compound if you get both of those sets. And you'll still have 2 extra stones left over, so I guess if you got the other Thanos from Infinity War, you could fill out that one too. And it is nice that we got all these Infinity Stones again. I'd had all of them except for the Mind Stone from the Infinity War sets, because that stone got really expensive when that set was sort of, you know, retired early. So it was you know, this set had been on my list from the day it was revealed because I wanted to get a Mind Stone for myself. But the printing on this gauntlet is really, really good. I guess if you don't know how these attach, each of them, it just has a hole there, and you just stick that in, and you know, it works pretty well. And you know, maybe they had to sacrifice a little bit of detail on the gauntlet in order to be able to, you know, have that stone attaching feature, but I think that was worth it. And you also can't hold figures with the gauntlet as a result. But Thanos doesn't really hold anyone with the gauntlet in the movie, so I'm okay with that. And I guess neither does Iron Man or the Hulk or anyone who uses the Nano Gauntlet. But that's enough talking about the gauntlet and the Hulk here, I guess. Of course, you can remove the gauntlet, and you can attach it to Thanos from the compound as well, if you would, if you'd like to be able to recreate the attempted snap, because he is inevitable. And while that gauntlet is probably the biggest draw to the set, I do think that the rescue figure here is really, really well done as well, and it's definitely something that I wanted to have. Just, you know, the gauntlet was a little bit more important to me, at least. But she does have the trans 1x1 cylinder pieces to replicate Iron Man flight, and she does have these power blast pieces, which you just push down on the tail, and they will shoot off like that. They also do just a pretty good job of looking like the repulsors, you know, kind of lit up. So, you know, it's I do like the introduction of those pieces. I think it might be better than just studs. But the helmet is a pretty good design. I think it's a good use of this newer Iron Man helmet. You know, I like that overall. And it does have a neck bracket with 2 studs that allows you to attach this assembly to the back, which has a sticker here, and you have these thrusters on top. You can change the angles of those thrusters. There's also 2 studs in there, so there's a little bit more suggestion of thrust. And you do have 2 stickers here, but if we were to remove that whole back assembly, they do also include an alternate hairpiece for her. And then if we remove that, we're able to see the torso printing. The face print is not new or anything, and probably a downgrade from the original Iron Man 3 Pepper Potts face, which was specifically designed for her character. But seeing as she's going to have the helmet most of the time, it doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, this is a really well done figure, and I think the printing on the torso and legs is fantastic, as well as the printing on the helmet, of course. But you know, you already know that. Yeah, probably second to the Gauntlet and the Mind Stone, but again, a really, really good fig. And the final hero in the set is Black Widow in her quantum suit, so I guess this isn't super duper heavily endgame inspired, because yeah, if you've seen the movie, you'll understand, and I guess if you haven't, I probably should have spoiled it anyway, because you're probably never going to watch it if you haven't yet, but yeah, this is a minor inaccuracy, I suppose, to put it lightly, but, you know, the face print is fine. It's cool to get the torso and legs again. You know, you could reuse this for any other characters if you didn't buy the set that their quantum suit came in, like myself, who didn't buy the quantum suit Hawkeye set yet, so I might just do that for now. But her accessories are a little bit interesting, at least, because they do use the Harry Potter wand and a lightsaber hilt to make her batons. That's sort of interesting. They do get the batons to be a little bit thinner, so that's kind of cool, but obviously you don't need to buy the set just for that now, but it's an interesting inclusion. And here we have 2 Chatari Soldiers, and their torso and legs were both introduced in the Quinjet from the first Endgame wave, and they're identical, and yeah, there's nothing special here. The they're fine figures, but yeah, there's nothing crazy here. I wish that the head printing wrapped 360 degrees. Like normally, that's not super important, but for these guys, I feel like it was that would have been just a nice little tiny extra thing to add to just make them a little more special, because they don't even get leg printing or headgear or anything. They're just really kind of super duper simple army building figs. So that's it. That's the full set. The helicopter is the majority of what you pay for here, and it's kind of bad. So it's like it could have been worse, obviously, but I had this just been the helicopter and you didn't have this other stuff, I wouldn't have bought it. Though I do really, really, really like what they did with the gauntlet here. That's really great, and the fact that they included all 4 stones that they did, and obviously each of those you do get the full ring of 4. So I guess technically you get 16 Infinity Stones in a set. The rescue figure is really good. I personally would have preferred an exclusive Ronin figure. Yeah, I get it. It's not a spoiler thing, so I guess maybe they should have done it in the first wave, like I would have liked, but I still really just want... I just want Ronin. Is that too much to ask? I guess apparently it is. But, for being rescue, this is really good. Just, please, Ronin, sometime. Maybe. I hope. Maybe for the Hawkeye show. Maybe. There'll be a flashback, and they can justify putting Ronin in a set there. But, yeah. If you can't tell, Ronin is probably my most wanted Marvel figure. So, yeah. Please make that Lego. Yeah. The Chitari stuff is cool. I actually do like that. That was much better than I was expecting it to be. Black Widow is a useless figure. Could have been Ronin, but it wasn't. So, yeah. That's pretty much all that I got for this. For $60, I think that's a little bit pricey. I guess a lot of the reason I feel like it's pricey is the fact that this Hulk helicopter is really kind of disappointing. I guess, I'd maybe give that $25 worth. Maybe 30, but that'd be pushing it a little bit. And then this thing would make a great $5 belly bag. This thing, maybe a $8 thing. So that's what... if I give this 30, that would be up to 43. And this, I would give Hulk a good $7 as well. So that would bring us up to 50. And then, I guess, I guess 5 and 5, this is definitely not worth $5. But, so I guess had I stuck with the 25 that I originally thought, which is probably what I'd pay for it versus what, the parts would be worth, then this would be probably about $10-ish overpriced, which I think $50 probably would have been fair. But yeah, 60 feels a little steep, but I think that it is worth it to get the gauntlet. Like, if it had never been discounted, I would have recommended it at 60 probably. A little bit begrudgingly, but still. I do think that it is a great set, and you should want the exclusive stuff, though I do really wish that they had provided a build that had been worth buying at retail price for the build and not just for the figures and cool exclusive parts. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.